So much of what we do here is mundane and a little boring. For every lost hiker or animal attack, there's a week or more of nothing. Even our park, which is a little more active than others, can be a little dead sometimes. It was the beginnings of what would become autumn, and the leaves were changing, the animals were getting ready to hibernate, and the guests we had were now interested in taking pictures more than swimming or camping. We still had a fair share of hikers and backpackers, but the season was going to rattle down soon as winter encroached. We'd still have to be here during the winter, but the hours were likely to be scaled back, and the duties would be mostly keeping the place from filling up with snow. So when the call came in about the missing boy, I was just sitting at my desk and trying not to fall asleep. The family had lost their son, and it was all hands on deck. I called the other two rangers at my post, and we went down to the Komodo site for briefing. The Komodo site is more like a glorified picnic area, but there are some bathrooms and a playground for the kiddos. It was the last place he had been seen, so we were hoping to get there in time to find him. Ranger Mac was over the search, Drill Instructor Mac as we called him, and he had all of us lined up, along with a couple of the quicker guys from Search and Rescue. Rangers, Dustin Fern went missing from the playground there. He pointed to the colorful play area. About 2 hours ago. His parents, Margaret and Dennis Fern, were in the picnic area when they noticed he was gone. The father searched for an hour before they called the park service, and now we're here to see if we can't turn this kid up before nightfall. So let's get at it. Take walkie-talkies, take supplies, get moving. I want check-ins every hour. There's no sense in any of you getting lost too while we're looking for this kid. We split off then, hopes high, and energy peaked, but that was 3 days ago. In the last 3 days, we've been unable to find the kid, and we've been contending with a sudden windstorm that's been buffeting the mountain for days. It's been kicking up little dust devils for a while now, and it's made the kid's tracks difficult to find. Speaking of poor little Dustin, no one else has seen hide nor hair of him either. He left nothing behind to help us out, and it's like the kid just vanished. Before you ask, yes, I went to check the old station in the woods, and no, I couldn't find the forest train. If the kid is riding the rails, then he's doing it alone. Mac insisted that we do this in pairs, and we've been searching non-stop, so there's been plenty of time for chatter. I've been looking around with Jacob. Yeah, that Jacob. And he's been steering us closer and closer to the mountain as time goes on. He justifies this by saying that the mountain isn't that far from the campground, the mountain not being far from most things, and that if the kid was looking for shelter, then he might have headed towards it. There's a lot of caves and things around the base of the mountain. Maybe he took refuge in one of them. We both grabbed our hats as a dust devil rolled past, and as it spun itself out, Jacob watched it go with some interest. I wish the wind would calm down a little bit, I groused as I got back moving, searching the ground for signs that weren't likely to be there. I heard a story once that dust devils were a sign of favor from the mountain owl, Jacob said, as casually as most people would discuss the weather. The mountain owl? I asked, the two of us continuing our search. Yeah, haven't you seen the kiosk in the park center? I had, and I suddenly remembered what he was talking about. The old Native American legend about the mountain spirit, right? Jacob nodded. My grandma told me about it when I was little. She had a touch of the Native American blood in her, at least she claimed to, and she had grown up in the community and heard a lot of the old stories. The mountain god, just called the Great Owl by the locals, was something she talked about a lot. He apparently brought the winds, moved the rains, and protected the tribes from outsiders. I guess he did a pretty good job, until the people with the guns came along. I had to plant my feet as another dust devil tried to push me into the nearest tree. What was he supposed to do? I asked, glancing around as we talked and finding my gaze straying back to the dust devil. He protects the tribe, but he also protected the kids. There was a story she used to tell about a kid who was lost in the woods, who was taken by the owl for 7 days and 7 nights. When the search party found him, the kid said the owl spirit had fed him and kept him safe. He also claimed to have shared great knowledge with him, and the kid had no idea how much time had passed. He was supposed to have gone on to be a great chief or spiritual leader or both, and he attributed the knowledge he had gained from the owl to his success. Keep in mind, this was a long, long time ago, before the settlers ever got here, so who knows if there's any truth to it or not. I watched it go, the little tornado heading back towards the mountain before fizzling out. Did the legend happen to say how they found the kid? Jacob thought about it for a moment. Not really, only that they did. The kiosk in the main center says the natives sometimes attributed the winds to the owl spirit, and that those who followed them may find something they seek. I'd taken a couple of steps towards the track the dust devil had been going on, when my radio crackled and Ranger Mac came over. Group 2B, status report. I lifted the headset to my mouth and told him that we had no updates at the moment. Affirmative. Return to the center. We'll get another team out there so you can get some rest. Jacob sighed. Looks like our shift's over. Let's go get some grub and maybe a nap. I kept looking at the mountain, but between my yawns and my growling stomach, I knew it was time to pack it in. Jacob and I were eating chili in the mess tent when I heard a few of the other search parties talking. The wind is getting rough out there, one of them was saying. It's probably about to drop a real frog drowner on us. Nah, said Nash, another one of the rangers from my post. It's just a geezer. It's too late in the season for a real hard rain. It's strange, though, he said, getting chili in his beard as he scratched it with a spoon. It almost seems to be pushing us towards something. You think? I asked, drawing the attention of both of the older men. Well, yeah. Haven't you noticed? It's been pushing us towards the mountain. I don't know if I believe it's a sign or something, but it's damn weird. Has anyone checked around the mountain? Asked the first guy. Nah, said Nash. It's too far. The little fellow would have had to walk damn near 3 miles to get there. We'd have found something by now if he had. Well, Jacob piped up, they better find him soon. After 4 days, they're likely to scale it back. After 7, they'll call it. Most of us will be sent back to our post after tomorrow. As I sat there eating, listening to them talk about their own searches, I looked back at the mountain and couldn't help but listen to the wind and remember what Jacob had said. It was pretty unlikely that he was at the mountain. Nash was right about that, but the wind did seem to be pushing us in that direction. It had helped the natives find things. Maybe it was trying to help us, too. Jacob stopped me as I started heading towards the mountain, asking me where I was going. I told him I was going to go have a look around the base of the mountain, and instead of trying to stop me, he offered to come along. That's worth crossing off, if nothing else, he said, and the two of us headed into the woods. The sun was setting, and pretty soon we had our flashlights out as the wind sent the trees rattling. The park wasn't all that different at night, but you definitely had to watch where you stepped. We came out of the thick woods and into the scraggy area between the trees and the mountain. The wind was really whipping up now, and instead of planting myself against it, I let it pull me. I could hear an owl not too far away, though it sounded like a normal-sized owl instead of some monster spirit bird. The closer we got, the more it seemed to be pulling us towards the southern face. There was a big cave system near there, but I couldn't imagine anyone going there after dark. The caves on this side of the mountain would be full of shale and loose rocks, and they'd be pretty uncomfortable for a kid sleeping rough. The more the wind pushed and the more the dust devils blew, the more I began to think I was right, though. When we found the cave empty, it took some of the starch out of my sails. Look, Jacob half whispered, and I pointed my light into the corner he'd been indicating. There, curled up on a nest of leaves and sticks, was the kid. He looked dirty, probably hungry, but none the worse for wear. We scooped him up. He was dehydrated and wobbly, and we came back into the rescue camp like conquering heroes. Mrs. Fern took her son from me, and I wasn't sure the kid was going to touch ground again until he was 30. Jacob and I got accommodations from the Park Service, and the governor sent us both medals for a job well done. For the kid's part, he said he'd seen a squirrel and went chasing after it, getting lost before he knew what had happened. He wandered around in the woods, calling for help and looking for his parents, and then fallen asleep under a tree. He woke up in the cave. Someone had put him in the little nest, and every now and again, he would find food lying on the floor. It was usually granola bars or some kind of berries, but it had kept him fed until we found him. Sometimes there were bottles of water, too, but they had been less frequent. The kid didn't know where he was, so he had tried staying put until we found him, and it was a lucky thing we had. The paramedics who looked over him said that he'd probably have succumbed to dehydration in a couple of days if he hadn't started getting regular water, and that made his rescue all the more heroic as far as anyone else was concerned. Personally, I was just glad to get back to doing nothing until the park's next disaster comes our way.
Good evening, everyone. It's me, Dr. Plague. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's show. If you think you might like a little more spooky in your life, then please feel free to click on one of the videos we have up here. Maybe look at one of the playlists if you're trying to get caught up. I know, there's so many videos on the channel, so many series that are going at the same time. Sometimes you just need a little refresher course, and I gotta say, I always enjoy the views. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss anything. We upload a lot on this channel, so you won't want to miss a single story as they come out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the Amazon link down there. There's quite a few books in my Amazon account. You can have a look, and if you'd like a signed copy, get up with me through email, and I'll be happy to work something out with you. Also, there's links to my Patreon, and you can become a member on the channel if you'd like your spooky a little bit early. Patrons and members on the $5 tier get their videos 12 hours early. That's in the morning as opposed to in the evening. Patrons at the $10 level also get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one. Speaking of my patrons, you should see them appearing right now. Just wanted to take a minute to say how much I appreciate all of you. Patrons, subscribers, however you give to the channel. I really appreciate everything you do, and it truly touches me that you have chosen to support the channel in this way. Well, that's enough for now. Till next time, Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.